Tonight, state prosecutors don't want to let Luigi Mangione have a laptop in jail after an incident involving a pair of socks and a smuggled note. The Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, has rejected a request from Mangione's lawyers to give him a computer so he can review the thousands of hours of surveillance video and police body cam footage being used against him after, of course, he was accused of killing the United Healthcare executive. The reasoning from Bragg that if Mangione gets access to that footage, he could, quote, disseminate images of civilians captured on those videos to his fans for harassment. And they point to a recent incident when prosecutors say an apparent admirer actually, in their words, smuggled a heart-shaped note to Mangione hidden in a pair of socks. I want to bring in NBC's Sam Brock. So it's not often that we talk about, somebody who has been accused of killing somebody else and is sitting behind bars, who also has fans sending allegedly love notes as well. I mean, this case has captured, I think, and captivated so many people around the country.
For a multitude of reasons, you're right. This is just a confluence of events that you really don't see rarely, if ever, Hallie. So that's sort of the baseline here. With respect to the note, here's what was interesting. This is the backstory that we saw in the filing from the Manhattan DA's office. They said they had to accommodate the defendant's fashion needs, which is to say that most of the incarcerated defendants, in their words, have to wear jail-issued clothing. But in this case, Mangione wanted to wear different clothing when he showed up in court for the various hearings. So what they did was allowed Mangione's team to provide a bag that was searched by a court officer, and then he received the clothing. What that court officer found, and this is getting to the notes you were just referring to, I'm going to read you the passage from the filing. It says, quote, among the items of clothing was a new pair of Argyle socks wrapped around cardboard. Secreted in the cardboard were two personal heart-shaped notes, one addressed to an unknown person named Joan and the other to Luigi, stating in part, no, there are thousands of people wishing you luck. Now, I'm sure your first question, Hal, is going to be, who the heck is Joan? We do know that there is a person named Joan on his defense team in the communications capacity. Could be her, not entirely sure. Obviously, the second note does refer to fans trying to show him their support. The reality is the defense team, we are expecting a response from them any moment on this very issue. So when that comes, we'll bring it to you.
I was just going to ask, what is the defense saying about this? And also, what's the prosecution's argument? Because the DA came up pretty strongly against this whole laptop thing.
Yeah, so the point here that they wanted to make was that there is not like widespread use of laptops at MDC, at the Metropolitan Detention Center. It's very rare for that to happen. In that DA filing, they said that Mangione does have access to a desktop computer and that he can avail himself of those resources anytime he wants. MDC, it says, assured the people that this defendant has ample access to desktop computers where he is housed to review discovery, conduct legal research, send emails, and draft motions. The reality is there are hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of cameras and films. So much of this case, Hallie, was built up on tracking Mangione and his locations and whereabouts all throughout Manhattan and beyond. There's just absolute reams of papers and videos that he has to go through. That's the argument that his defense team is making, and there's no way they can do it in the amount of visiting hours allotted. But he has access, according to the DA's office, to a computer anyway. Hallie?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.